Yeah, what's the
So the
campfire?
campfire was one of the largest and most deadliest fire in the United States history. I think there was a total of 85 people that were killed, and it rolled through our town. Basically, started I think it was like 6 a.m., and by 10 a.m. it had completely,
Wiped out over 12,000 houses.
yeah.
Um, like Chenoa said, 80 something people died. It turned all of our lives upside down here in Northern California. It was just completely chaos for months. And like Chenoa was saying, our show had aired on a Tuesday. The campfire hit Thursday, and so it was almost like we got this show, and then all of a sudden it was like boom, the storm just came through. The fire came through, and our lives just went upside down. Um, a lot of houses we were actually every single house except for one house on the show burned down. So we did 8 houses in 6 months on the show, and most of them burned down. It was just a crazy change of events for us.
I get mad when one of our guests leaves a mark on the wall. uh, to lose all those houses and how devastating to the was it
Hmm.
Yes, Paradise,
Paradise?
California. Yeah.
So, what did you
Well,
do?
we were out of our house initially. We didn't know if our house had burned down for over a week, I guess. But then we had a family friend that drove our street. We relocated to my mom's house. We didn't have any of our clothes or anything, so it was just kind of like it almost like the world shut down for probably a good solid month in our area, just because the fire was still burning, and so it was like you couldn't go outside.
The
It was
smoke was really
smoky.
bad.
People were just like all over. There was tons of like camps with people. They were housing people and
The
just.
National Guard was
I
here.
mean, it was just like
Hmm.
it was. It looked like it was like the pictures of paradise were like a bomb had gone through, and just
Yeah,
like
they
it
say an
was like a
atomic
war
bomb
zone.
got dropped and wiped everything out.
Yeah, I mean, people were, yeah.
Seems like it would be a localized
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
apocalypse.
was. It was. And so immediately we thought like, well, how do we help people? We, jumped into action a little bit, just whatever we could do with what we had, and
yeah.
trying to
We
support people locally on the ground that needed like clothes or how, toiletries. And my real estate company, Keller Williams, gave money and helped supported people. So we just kind of people jumped into action, to help
Yeah, we had a
the
couple of
community.
houses that were actually not in Paradise, but were in another town here, and like we housed
Hmm.
like some of our friends there, and we got them in the houses that we were doing. So, like yeah, we just jumped into action like right away.
Yeah. And then we just, I mean, it was either you were not going to turn back and go and do what you were doing. And so we just pivoted to like, okay, well, what do we have? What tools do we have with us? Um, we thankfully and luckily, we had all builders risk. Our everything was insured.
We had insurance on everything.
And I think another like key point for that time period was that our house had damage, but it didn't burn down. Like the firefighters actually happened to be on our street. They weren't even saving houses at this point because they were trying to save lives. But they came in through our front door and it was burning the kids' bathroom, and they put out the fire basically. So we just felt like, you know what, we started our business in paradise. We live in paradise. Our house didn't burn down. We were meant to stay here, finish, and build our business. And so,
Our house was still standing for a reason.
yeah.
Wow. Well, that's incredibly lucky. Uh, and then once the dust and the smoke cleared, where did you go from there? Like, how did you figuratively and literally rebuild?
Yeah. So
Like, did you stay in town with business?
yeah. So at that point, we really started. It was almost kind of like let's regroup. Let's look at our business. Where do we go from here? What do we get into next? Um, the town that we were flipping all these houses in is completely burned down. What do we do now? Um, so then we started to research. Okay, with fires being so big and a lot of houses being built the way they were, they burned down so fast in the fire, and so we figured, okay, well, we're going to be resilient. We're going to come back and we're going to rebuild. We're going to help the town rebuild. We're going to rebuild our houses that burned down, and we're going to stay in paradise. And so that's what we did. We started partnering with other contractors that were builders, and we started to look at alternative materials to rebuild. And our first house that we rebuilt, we actually did it out of this autoclaved aerated concrete, and that was one of that house. It took a while to build, but it came out phenomenal, and it's in a lot of ways it's how we should be rebuilding properties. And I know, like, nowadays, oh, you got to have a special clearance around your house, and you got to do all these special things they say that's going to help your house for a fire, which it can, obviously, but the reality is, in today's day and age, Mother Nature is totally different. The hurricanes are bigger, the fires are bigger, and they're harder to stop. And so we have to start building differently. And unfortunately, we're not building differently. We're still rebuilding stuff stick built. But we were determined on this particular property, the first new build that we were going to do. We did it out of concrete, autoclaved aerated concrete, and we know if there's another fire, this house will probably withstand and be fine.